thinks that Bush or McCain have a real answer for the challenges we face. So what they're going to try to do is make you scared of me. You know, he's not patriotic enough. He's got a funny name. He doesn't look like all those other presidents on those dollar bills, you know.
Well, after those comments from the Barack Obama, the McCain camp lashed out at the Obama camp, says they are playing the race card. Just yesterday, Obama fired back, mocking McCain with a new website while they continue to spar. How large will the race factor loom, and why is it back again in this race? Joining us now is Hugh Price, the former president of the National Urban League. Mr. Price, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Is the McCain camp right that it was Obama just there who introduced race back into this presidential race?
I don't think race has ever gone away as a factor. I don't think it's playing out the way they're talking about, but I think it's there and it's in people's minds. But this is kind of a sideshow as far as I'm concerned.
But it wasn't Barack Obama who just brought up his race again. It wasn't the McCain camp.
Well, he can't walk away from his race. I mean, I think the American people are thinking about race in this context. I think the younger voters do not make judgments based on race, gender, sexual preference. So that's one category. There are some people who can't come to terms with an African American being elected. That's at the other end of the spectrum. Then clearly there are people who are not bothered at all by it, are very drawn to what Obama brings to the campaign and the prospect of the presidency, so they've crossed the bridge. And then there are people who are still searching their souls and searching their self-interest and trying to figure out whether the issue of race matters to them. That's the way I think race is going to play out in this campaign, not in the sidebars that are going on right now.
Do you think in retrospect he regrets saying it and having it in his dialogue? For example, he said it the first week in July, I don't look like those other guys on those dollar bills. And as Dr. Lamont Hill told us earlier today, we know he wasn't talking about he doesn't wear a wig.
But he doesn't start this stuff. I mean, the mudslinging starts on one side. McCain's obviously been engaged in that.
So do you blame that Paris Hilton, Britney Spears
thing? That was dumb. But I think that stuff has got no bearing on what real voters are thinking about. Real voters are thinking about the major issues we face as a society and in the world, and they're wondering who's going to bring the most of that enterprise. And race is part of that calculus in terms of people's prior histories and their feelings, but I don't think that this sideshow and mud wrestling has got any bearing on how people are going to think about the candidates.
But it's interesting that I think that Barack Obama brought it up again. The Paris Hilton Britney Spears ad was about celebrity. It wasn't about race. So if he wants to turn voters' attentions to policy and to issues, why did he bring up looks?
I don't know why he brought it up, but I don't think it has
effective? I mean, do you think that he should be bringing it up?
I don't think either sets of comments are effective. I don't think they have any bearing on what voters are thinking about today. I think those are sideshows and mud wrestling matches that are distractions. They have no bearing on who brings the most to the position given the challenges we face as a nation.
And we have a few minutes, just a little time remaining, but Senator John McCain will be speaking to the Urban League today. How does the Urban League view John McCain? What are you going to be listening for? You used to run that.
Well, I used to run the league. I think they'll be looking for, what is his history of dealing with issues affecting African Americans? What are his values? What are his agenda going forward? What is his legitimacy as he addresses these questions? I think that's what he will, in all likelihood, focus on in his speech.
Do you think
it's usually
he'll bring
very
up,
substantive.
Do you think that he'll touch on any of this?
No, I can't imagine that he will. I can't. There's no benefit to him in bringing it up.
At the very least, reporters going in and reporters going out will be throwing those questions at him.
All right, Hugh Price, thank you so much for joining us this morning.